My name's Oscar.
My name's Carl.
And this is Who Would Watch This? Welcome to Who Would Watch This, the podcast where we watch a film, chat about the film, and then we try and figure out who would watch this.
Today we're talking about The Electric State, which currently has a 6.1 on IMDb, a 14% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 2.2 on Letterboxd. Oscar, what's the plot?
An orphan teen hits the road with a with a mysterious robot to find her long-lost brother, teaming up with a smuggler and his wisecracking sidekick. Carl, if there's an elevator pitch, wow, I want to hear that one because that's fantastic.
Wow, sounds pretty original, not
Yeah.
derivative at all.
Hey, before you mock, and that's not what we're about here, but before you mock, before you've done that, let's go back to last week before you...
When we did judge a book by its cover.
Oh, how good.
And we were right.
we nailed it. Carl, Chris Pratt has a weird wig, and we're taking a stab and thinking this might not be great. Off that only fact alone. And
Again, and we're back to wigs.
yeah.
Hosted by Carl and Oscar. Some of the best wigs have been worn by Chris Pratt. We're going to go in depth on all of them.
What's his other wig? I feel like I'm like falling out.
I don't know.
Never
He
make...
wore a wig in Passengers when he gets old and hairy.
Don't spoil Passengers. People
That's
surely...
the beginning.
Oh, is it?
It's
Does
the
it
beginning.
Wow, do they start with like an intro for the Passengers? And
Well,
just,
he does his best not to wake anyone up
gotcha.
for a long time.
He's tiptoeing around for an hour in a wig.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a great film.
Yeah.
Maybe it is a great film.
And then once he wakes her up without her consent, he's like, I'll trim the beard. And she's like, whoa, hot stuff coming through. And then Passengers ensues.
Yes.
Lawrence Fishburne's in it.
Oh, good for him. Good for him. Carl, we're doing Electric State next week. No one knows anything about it. However, I guess critics...
Except we know Chris Pratt knows how to pick a project, as does Millie Bobby Brown. They hit him out of the park.
They have nothing
every
too
time.
kind. I mean, here's the thing. They make money? No, Garfield wasn't great. They all get a lot of viewership. Maybe that's just them. Maybe they're not picking it. Maybe just, oh wow, Millie Bobby Brown's in that? I watched that.
It's great they got two actors in it for the money.
Yeah.
No love of the craft.
Millie Bobby Brown, though, I feel is only in... Like, she's only been in Netflix films, right?
I think she's got an exclusive Netflix deal.
Gotcha.
So
That
I think
makes
she's
sense.
she's ticking the contract
That's
boxes.
fine. That's
you know?
fine.
Yeah.
Chris Pratt, I guess, has autonomy, and he does pick some good ones. Garfield was great. You've heard it here first.
Yeah, as was Mario, but then that made like $1.7 billion.
Oh, yeah,
so
no.
you can't really hold it against
I mean,
him.
you average out Garfield, it's about $1 billion. He's
Yeah.
He's doing $1 billion for playing a cat or an Italian.
Where are we on like these actors' shtick? Because I think I'm bored of the shtick, right?
I don't know. Maybe this is just not being really in the... I don't know. I feel like the Ryan Reynolds, the Chris Pratt, whatever the 2014 Guardians of the Galaxy, that sort of screwball guy... We're done. We're done.
when
I
was
don't know.
the last
Are
time-
kids finding this like endearing?
Do we think this is a kids' film? Where do we think this is landing?
Oh, this is PG-13. Whatever
Yeah.
that means. We're not in America.
Yeah.
I'm sure it has an actual definition in America, but just the vibe of just like, hey, here's a gun. We're gonna shoot somebody, but it's absolutely fine. Don't you worry about that.
Because I've seen the original teaser images that came out, and then I saw that it's had horrible reviews, which
Yes.
is why we decided to chuck this on board.
Yeah.
And I've seen little bits of like YouTube trailers, nothing particularly long, but I have looked at the graphic art from it, the
Yeah.
book that it's based on. I've seen
Yeah.
the popular ones at least pop up online. So that's why I was like, is this meant to be for children? Because that imagery from the book does not look like it's
I
for
looked
kids.
it up. Haunting. Right?
Yeah, really beautifully haunting.
Yeah. But just what like a dystopia is. I can't remember what that show is. Oh, wait, let me find it. 2 seconds.
Okay, there might have been like a quick little time jump that's just happened because the entire show got derailed.
Completely derailed.
Just completely derailed, but it's not derailed anymore.
No, we're back in a big
We
way.
don't know if any of it made it through.
Yeah.
But essentially, Oscar decided to waste everyone's fucking time looking up a fact.
Carl did a bad bit.
I did a great bit, and the listener must know it was about Terra Nova, and you'll never get to hear it now, but it was really good.
Yeah,
and now we can hop back into it because you were able to find the show that nobody's ever heard of, and nobody even knows what plot you were talking about.
I've actually literally... Scavenger's Reign. I can't remember why I was talking about this. Anyway, it's a show about dystopia. I don't know. Oh, it's eerie. It's like that.
Fuck
Damn,
you.
that's crazy.
That's such a waste.
It is a
Terra
waste.
Nova's just as eerie, if not less.
Anyway, the book's really good, I guess. The graphic
The
novel...
imagery looks great. It's
Yeah.
weird. It looks like it's made for kids.
Yeah.
Right? That they've gone, this
Yes.
is a kid
We've
property
got the
now.
girl from Stranger Things. You're going to love this. You're going to love this.
We've also got the Russo brothers.
Yes.
So you've got this sort of like big filmmakers of blockbuster.
Yes.
Of from
They
Marvel.
haven't missed until they did miss a few. Well, they I don't know. Did the Grey Man do well?
I don't know, but it's not good.
Yeah.
And I would say it's the same as... Look, I think we both know this fact. No matter what happens from this point on, The Electric State will become one of the most watched movies ever made for Netflix.
But
We
here's the
know
thing.
that.
Here's the thing. We're pissing in the wind. We're going to have our little gripes next week. It's going to be very much like, oh, this didn't do well. And then a billion people would have watched it. And some Coco will be like, pretty good, pretty
Yeah.
good, pretty
Yeah.
good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Somebody will have watched, they'll have downloaded this for the plane.
Yeah.
They'll watch the entire thing on their iPhone. And they're going to be like, yeah, I watched the new
The
new Pratt film.
The new Pratty Bobby one. The Pratt Bob.
Yeah.
Pratt Bob one. Who would watch this? I guess big fans of Pratty Bob.
I think it's for anyone wanting to watch a movie on an iPhone.
Yeah. If you're like looking at that iPhone going, man, I wish I'm watching TikToks, but I really want to watch something
I want to watch a
longer."
full feature film
Yeah.
that also gives me no sustenance.
Yeah, that's tight. That's tight.
It's
Yeah.
this.
It's this.
It's this.
It's this. Carl, it's Electric State. Wowee, I've got chills. I've been looking up this film all day, and it seems like every article has got the exact same headline, just like $320 million, but it's bad, but it's boring, but it's weird, but it shouldn't have, it's a bomb, it's not very well. And then I've seen all the articles come out an hour ago, it's just like, by the way, I think Netflix has got themselves a hit on their hand, because it's number one. So yeah, we nailed it.
It must be great when you're Netflix and you can just be like, no matter what we plug when you land on the Netflix page, most people will just watch that.
Yeah.
So you can just be like, did we spend $320 million on it? Here's the movie, watch a minute of it and we'll say you finished it.
Yeah, that counts, that
Yeah.
counts.
Look, I got to tell you, this podcast has to move at a rapid pace because the movie is leaving my mind. We have to chase the plot while we still remember.
I'm going to praise, now not the film, but just more how this thing has come together. I think it's a scientific marvel. Like, it is so impressive how engineered this is to be not forgotten, but definitely just, it's not well paced. It just, anytime I slightly got bored, it would just do it'd go like jangle the keys. I'm like, oh, I'm still sort of. It's very well engineered. It's not a movie, but it's very well engineered.
And let's just preface this by saying, oh, wow, look at you all. I'm so happy you all got paid. Look at you. You all got some of the biggest paydays of your career, and you weren't trying.
No.
And so I'm glad it all worked
Colin
out
Domingo's
for you.
done in like every Oscar-winning film, but God, he's made no money. So when he popped up for this for 4 minutes and made more money than I assume he's ever made in anything, great. Just
He
great.
probably made more money from this movie than it cost to make the movie Sing Sing. That's how much, and he deserves that money. Everybody here, I was like, look at you, collecting your fat paycheck.
Yeah.
Good for you, good for you, good
You
for
all
you.
did
good
your
for you.
weird little artistic thing. It did well. Brian Cox is here for a big fucking paycheck.
Yeah.
Great. Just everyone, good job,
Yeah.
you know?
It was fantastic. It feels like the Russo brothers sort of stood up in a big crowd in Hollywood and they said, okay, who here is desperate?
Yep.
Put your hands up. Cast.
You need
Cast.
to be an
The
A-lister.
cast.
You need to be an A-lister, but if you want 20 million, come round. I've got a big trough.
Netflix just acquired Seinfeld for another 4 years. Anyone from Seinfeld here? Anyone?
Oh, Jason
Anyone?
Alexander.
Oh, Jason, get on up here. We got a Kramer? No, we're not going to brush that. All right.
Where's Jerry, though? He's filming Unfrosted too. It was a hit. It was a hit.
It is they've coerced the best thing ever, which is going up to celebrities and going, you can be in the Electric State. We'll shoot it at your house and you don't have to sit up.
And that's, I think, on it, we'll get into the world building, but it does feel like a world building designed for actors that, like, I will not come to set. Can I still get paid $5 million? Yes, you can. It's very clever. It's very
I
clever.
don't know who did the books on this, but they must have Oprah'd it, being like, you get a paycheck. You get a paycheck. Everyone here gets the biggest paycheck.
Carl, so the budget is $320 million. That is now, I think, the 13th highest grossing film. And I will
Costing.
Costing. Fair enough. However, I will just really quickly, Prince Caspian's up there? Couldn't believe it.
Kids at sea.
Yeah.
It costs money. Wait, no, that was Voyage of the Dawn trailer.
That's what I'm
Why
saying.
the fuck did Prince Caspian cost
And
that
that's
much
what
money?
I'm saying.
I will say something as well, just because obviously Netflix is making some Narnia movies at the moment with Greta Gerwig. Those Narnia movies look phenomenal. Have you rewatched any clips or anything from them?
No, I'm an adult.
They are, hey, they look.
I will look.
They're just like that sort of like the early Pirates of the Caribbean
Yeah.
time where you're just like, wow, these just look really good. Like just out in real sets, lots of costuming, like yeah, just really solid.
And like this film? We'll talk about, let's get into the world building because dare I say it is my favorite part of this film because one, it's very generic and it is definitely relying on a lot of pre-established ideas that just the audience goes, you know that. Like it'll play a song and you've heard it in another movie. So you're like, oh, I meant to feel the emotion that I felt in that movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's just borrowing things.
It very much feels like they've gone... Stranger Things was really playing on like 80s nostalgia. That was 10 years ago, so we're ready to do 90s nostalgia.
I gotta tell you, it's horrible because I feel like our childhood is soon going to be nostalgicized, because it's creeping up. The 90s is getting its dues now. Like, they go crazy. They're just like, you guys remember Bill Clinton? And do you guys remember Walkmans? Yeah, we're doing all that stuff.
Yeah, when they get to like a Discman, I'm going to be like, oh no, I had one of them. It feels like but aren't we all just nostalgic for the days we didn't have a computer in our pocket? It's just going to be like, weren't Dems the times?
No, iPod Nano, when that becomes retro and like it's shown on a Netflix film, then we're screwed.
An iPod Touch, when it says like a kid's like, oh my god, I accidentally spent $30 on a new iPod Touch game, I'll be like, oh, finally a relatable character in cinema.
Finally, I can connect with the person. Let's get into the world building. Carl, robots are back. Guess who did it? Walt Disney? It's an odd choice.
Crazy for them to blame him.
Why? It is. I guess Netflix has it. I guess the Russo brothers are like, can we use Walt's image for a little bit? He won't be the villain.
They were annoyed because at the time Marvel was like, "You're never coming back."
I think,
and so I think they were like, "Then Walt Disney's the one that did this." Then,
and they're like, "You rehired, cut Disney out.
Yeah.
He's smoking a cigarette in our film. Cut the cigarette."
Do you reckon they were sitting there going, "Thank God we got picked up to make another movie"? Like it was in one of those things where when this movie finished, I went, "Who would trust them with a budget again?"
I do agree. However, I think this is less of a film and more just like engineered, because I was looking at all the reviews and like all the critics understandably like this is derivative and bland, but all the people on like Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb gave it a bunch of sevens. Like, guys, it's not that bad. I watched it with my kid. They kind of liked it. That's what they're going for. Netflix has like 1 billion users. Only like 50 million of those are people that like film. The rest do not, and they're going for that kind of film. This is what they're for. You know? So
I
it's
get
fun.
that.
Oh yeah, but who would give them a budget when a script? This is odd.
I know. I think it's just I don't know what the point is of. I guess one of the things that's
they're managers. They're great managers.
Yeah, I think it's just bizarre that the Russo brothers have essentially gone from, they obviously made Marvel movies for such a long time. Like they were making them from Captain America all the way to Endgame.
Yeah.
So they made like 3 movies that made over $1 billion. Congrats to them.
And I assume overlooked and produced the other ones, right? Like all the little ones. Like I'm sure they had a hand. in them.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure they've all got their little greedy little hands on everything.
Yes.
Either way, but I think it's very clear that since they left Marvel, when you look at Cherry and you look at the Grey Man and you look at this, that these guys never really got to develop their own style.
Very true.
And I think that's their downfall because after I finished this, I did go and watch Endgame, and I was like, Endgame looks way better. Like visually, it has like much longer takes. It has like a slower build up. I was like, it's less noisy. It's less like I would equate the Electric State nearly to like a Michael Bay film.
It's acting quick, and it's edited in a way that is to keep your attention, and then is also cut from like it feels like they've made essentially they've gone, hey, can you make us not a movie? Can you make us Play-Doh so we can edit it and fix it however we want? Because it's shot so many angles and it cuts to a bunch of different angles. You're like, why is there no rhythm to anything? And it's just so they can get these little things. It's very strange.
And no scene sort of has like a fun starting moment.
No.
It's never like, oh, somebody's playing with a marble and we'll follow the marble and then that sort of begins the scene as we pan up into whatever room is happening. They're never doing that. It's always cutting into the scene.
Yeah.
And then you go and watch any of their other work and it's always got that stuff where it's like, we're following a leaf blowing through the ground. We're setting up the scene. Like, I don't know where that has gone. So I don't know if they've simply really like downgraded themselves to being studio hires who just want a fat paycheck.
I feel like, you get a $320 million budget film. You're going to have a bunch of producers that have a lot of opinions. And I'm sure it's sort of like, we have given you every tool so you can now go out behind and essentially make the film. And I'm sure there was just sort of like, do we need an establishing shot? No, there's them on screen.
Yeah.
It's kind of insidious. And I think the film is working very well in the sense that like it is keeping your attention and also like losing. It's a very odd product. I don't love it. I don't think it's going to be the future, but it's definitely the future. I think Netflix is going to squirt one of these out every 4 months, so then the people that are watching this are just like, yep, I saw a film.
Yeah, but it's like, I mean, but I would say like their big Christmas release was Carry On, which we both had a great time with.
Yeah.
Like that was obviously like a.
Can I say, I looked it up. Audience didn't love it as much.
That's nuts to me.
I know, right? I know, right? But here's the thing: Netflix is making like 300 movies a year, and they're like they're organizing it so that's slightly it's a bit tongue in cheek, but you guys will like this. That is not for the general audiences.
Yeah,
it's
Did you
really
see Carry
odd.
On's now the 6th most watched movie they've ever made?
Oh, that's great, fantastic.
Yeah.
It's just fun.
It's so good.
Yeah,
it's
fun.
just so fun.
Yeah.
Man, fuck you. Oh god, do I just turn on the audience now? Maybe.
We should get into this because the world
I don't
building.
wanna.
No, but the world building is my favorite part because even though we've called it generic and bland, it is taking some wild swings. Anyway, Walt Disney has essentially made robots to open his park. Cool. The robots immediately went, I need a higher purpose or I will start killing. Everyone in the human race is like, well, we're fucked. I don't know what we're gonna do. It's all fucked. We're not bothering. Then essentially, Mr. Peanut. The mascot for that.
This was egregious.
This was
The fact it was Mr. Peanut, like, dressed as Lincoln.
dressed as Lincoln doing a march on Washington, which I guess would have happened in this universe because they didn't have robots then. So they're just copying what the Black Movement did. So then you've got the same thing doing there, and Mr. Peanut like, we will not be subjugated. And then immediately Steve Jobs is like, Stanley Tucci is like, hey, let's just fucking round them up and put them in a refugee camp. We've got some VR goggles, and we're gonna just do that. And that's your setting for the film.
It was nuts to me that the entire movie opened with like a grainy film montage of robots fighting back, and they were basically like, but you don't want to see that. And I was like, no, that's exactly what I wanted to see. When it cut to being like, and now Millie Bobby Brown has a brother that's a robot, I was like, no, give me the robot war.
Bill Clinton commenting on the robot war was something I was in the film. I was like, you know what? If this is the vibe, great. It was not.
It was not the vibe.
Yeah.
I could not believe.
It's essentially District 9, but for robots.
This is
It's got a satire.
core
inbuilt
concept,
into it. Yeah.
phenomenal, in my opinion.
What?
Just like the idea of being like, we manufactured robots, they rised up because they wanted rights, and so we just chucked them away and like after a dystopian like war. But I want to see the war and the fallout and the growth and everything. I essentially want to see Planet of the Apes, but from the point of view of the robots. I want to see Planet of the Robots.
I want to start with the robots because
Yeah.
the robots seem fun and fun.
Because here's the thing, this movie absolutely blew my mind because halfway through I was just like, what the fuck is this movie? And I
Yeah.
feel like I saw it recently. This movie's If.
Oh my god! It even has the same art style.
It has
What
the
is-
exact same CGI style of all these robots. It's this same like a girl and like a Chris Pratt's playing a Ryan Reynolds type.
Yeah,
and
right.
It's just If.
Which I think makes sense because this whole film just felt like almost like a test mold for this new type of thing that like blockbuster they're bringing out, which is like, I don't know how you explain it because it's just like a slow reel out. Like it doesn't do well immediately from the movies, but then every like child and family have watched this.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going to be happening. I don't know. I'd be interested to see if this pops up again because it's a weird formula, but it's definitely a formula.
Really quickly, do we think like the Russo brothers have it in their head that they just don't want to release a movie in cinemas since making one of the most successful movies of all time? Because they have only done streaming movies since.
Yeah,
do you reckon they're worried?
I don't know. I don't know if that. Like, I hope it's not like just like you can make $500 million. No one will think less of you. Like,
I know,
it's fine.
but I wonder if they're worried people are going to be like, "See, you weren't talented, and nobody wants to see you in the cinema."
bold to release Cherry. Then if that was their
I
plan.
got to tell you, the most creative they ever got was that asshole shot. That asshole shot in Cherry is phenomenal.
I listened to their podcast and they had like the production designer on for this film. Again, the whole film looks great. like the sets, but it's all just medium shots, so it just seems like an absolute waste. Like like when we say like the money's on the screen, it's like on the screen but blurred. It's like, oh guys, come on, there's definitely like a pile of burning cash
Oh
in
my
the background.
god! It kept on throwing me where I would just be like, "Oh my god, why did you go to this effort if you're just going to put them on a green screen?" And then it would like pull out, and I'd be like, "Wait, is this a set?" And then they'd be like, "Nope, go in closer so it's blurry again." And I'd be like, "Wait, so there's a set there?
Yeah.
Well, you just show the set."
It's bonkers, right? They're just like, man, we filled a whole warehouse with every 90s toy you can imagine. All right, Chris Pratt, stand by that rock. Just that jagged rock. We're not going to show it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not needed. It's not needed.
We're going to use the same fish toy thrice in this scene. No other toys.
Again, it just feels like a Netflix executive was just like, we tested it with 1,000 children and they like the fish toys.
Yeah.
So we've done the fish toy.
We tested audiences and we were able to determine which toy they wanted up on screen 3 times during the scene, and the fish one every time. Sorry.
Listen, I loved it. The fish toy really captured
The height of the film for me.
Let's get into our plot. I guess Millie Bobby Brown. Bless her soul. I think she's getting very much bullied online at the moment, so we won't talk on that. But her character,
I don't think she's worthy of any of the bullying that seems to be going towards her. It's kind of ridiculous, honestly. So we can just leave it at that. The only thing I'll say is, and I will say this about absolutely everybody in this movie, miscast. There is not an ounce of inspired casting in this.
Yeah.
We've all seen everybody do this before.
Yeah.
So it's Stanley Tucci's doing the same thing as before.
Big conclave energy from this guy, huh? Big conclave energy.
He literally did this performance in a Transformers movie by Michael Bay.
That's
Like
right,
I've seen Giancarlo Esposito do this exact same role before.
Oh yeah,
I
feel bad. He needs like a fun role, you know. Has he had something like that?
I mean, have you seen all of Better Call Saul? Because he gets to fucking cook in those
Oh,
final
maybe.
seasons.
Okay, shut up. Don't even. Okay, I'll be quiet. But yeah, he's just doing a generic bad guy who might twist.
And it sucks because I just saw him play generic bad guy number 2 in the latest Captain America movie. Like, it's just back to back on this.
Yeah.
You know, the only one I was excited to see was Coleman Domingo. I was like, oh my god, Coleman Domingo's in this?
Shot immediately. You couldn't believe how quickly he's out of it.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think anyone hears. There is a scene where Chris Pratt goes, he's like, when he gets introduced, he's like, that'd be a shock. I said, that'd be a shock. I said, that would be a shock. And then somebody gets shocked and he's like, you were late. And I was like, I've seen Chris Pratt do this like in 4 different movies.
Yeah.
This line of this dialogue and setup of a scene is not funny or inventive. And I don't know if it ever was. But why are we using this still?
It definitely was at one point, but it's a done joke. We're done.
Yeah.
But it is just, I don't know, is it like fulfilling for like Chris Pratt for just doing a sort of similar role? I think he's a good actor. You seen Moneyball? Oh my god, he can just play a tragic baseball character.
I like Chris Pratt in most of the things I've seen him in. I think he holds, like those horrible Jurassic World movies, he is prepping them up with just a little bit of charisma, a little bit of attitude, you know? I don't know what it is about being, it's like when we were reviewing Red One. We're just like, why are these actors making this? Like they're rich.
Yeah.
They just need more money? Do you not want to be...
You got that Garfield gold, you know? That's shitting gold.
This guy voiced Mario.
Yeah.
Like he would have gotten the fattest payday from Illumination.
But then I just think, you know, they're throwing what, $25 million at him? Probably.
I guess,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, you'd just be crazy not to. Also, you would just, I do think every not actor, but I do think them, because I was a bit annoyed that they'd taken like a really nice graphic novel. I looked at, saw all the pictures and everything. I didn't read it, but I saw the pictures on the website. My God, it really is eerie. But I do think it's like, I don't think they've like not adapted it well. I think they've almost leveraged it as sort of like, no, look, we're adapting this really cool thing. We've got the Russo brothers. You should jump on board. We'll pay you a lot of money. It's like, well, fuck, that's probably actually going to be pretty good. And then it's sort of been bastardized. I think they knew initially it was going to be bastardized. So I think maybe that's how they've attracted him to do this role. But it is odd, isn't it? That you just like do more, you know?
Well, it's because also he has nothing to do in this film. He doesn't really have any interesting and creative action sequences. He is like little guardian relationship he forms with Millie Bobby Brown sort of comes out of the blue and is not earned at all.
No, it's so... I sort of wrote, and now they're partnered up, and I was like, man, I've got that from just like what this film is, but you haven't earned it in any way, have they?
When he punches Ki Hai Kwan, I was like, when did you become protective of her?
Yeah.
Like, when did that relationship occur here.
Yeah.
I just don't. It's just very manufactured.
Oh, I just think it's relying on like 1,000 other films for you to be like, you guys are.
You should be. They should be friends by now. And you should know that
that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Just move on. We probably should get into essentially Millie Bobby Brown. The reason why she's on this quest is she finds a robot from her old show, and her brother's like soul is trapped in there. It seems.
Yeah.
So then she meets Chris Pratt, and then Chris Pratt's like, well, I guess I got nothing else going on, so I guess we'll go. Well, I'll risk my life.
The movie also has this weird thing, which is they both got robot friends, right? And Millie Bobby Brown even says in a scene, the teacher's like, do you want me to call your mum? And Millie Bobby Brown's like, turn the page. And the page is like, everyone she knows is dead. And the teacher's like, God, I wish I'd read that before I said my statement. But then Millie Bobby Brown is like, my entire family was in a car accident, they died. And but the teacher assumes they died during the robot war.
Yes.
But nope, they just died in a car accident. And then 2 minutes later, they're like, let's show you the car accident. And I'm like, why'd you tell me if you were going to show me in the next scene?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's odd to have a movie that is all about like robot rights and not have one of the arcs of like these main two be like coming to respect a robot.
Yeah.
Like it feels like if her brother had been killed by a robot and now had come back in robot form, that would just create an interesting conflict for the film.
Totally.
Anything
Yes.
like that. But nope, they just love him and they get along with him and everything's sweet for them all the time.
It's very odd, isn't it? Even like Giancarlo Esposito's sort of role is sort of like he's essentially. I don't know what the equivalent would be like in the human version, but he's essentially like an assassin. He hunts robots, which is pretty fucking eerie when they have a soul. But he's
Blade Runner.
Yeah, he's Blade
He's
Runner.
Blade
He's
Runner.
Blade Runner. He's and his like retribution is being like, man, Stanley Tucci's also a dick.
Shall we talk about some of these designs? Because they've also got this, everybody is enjoying living in like an augmented reality.
Yeah.
Rather than...
What do we see the reality? I think we see it once with Stanley Tucci
Yeah.
and Gene. It's just it's just VR, right?
Yeah, it's just VR.
They're doing it at school. I mean, it's really weird because it's sort of like the Russo brothers. I don't know whether this is just them coming through, but it feels like they're scared of AI. I think they're tackling that. I don't know what they're tackling.
Can't be that scared of it. They let it write the script.
Yeah, wabba.
Wayo.
But it is just like this generic, like Millie Bobby Brown doesn't like wearing the headset. No reason why. I think we just know that they're evil, right?
But it would sort of make sense if she didn't like technology for any reason.
No, but she's got no
Any
reason. If anything, I think her brother was just like, how good is technology? I'm really smart. You should use technology. What is the VR headset that everyone... Because it's like heroin crack.
Well, so this is the other thing as well, is a robot war breaks out and many people die, and then everybody goes, let's double down on robots, and puts on headsets and lets robots be them. How the fuck does that make sense?
I don't know. I don't know how they were like, okay, yeah, because everyone's like, no, this is not a robot, it's a drone. I
don't care. I don't know the difference.
I was just like, they are wearing VR headsets to control, not robots, but just sort of robots without a soul or a mind. I don't know. I don't know why you were like, that's fine.
In the world, we've seen many wars break out, and it causes such rifts between cultures and people, and yet everybody was like, yeah, but I would put myself in a robot.
Yeah, everyone's...
like, what?
It's crazy. It seems like every like world issue, and the 90s weren't, famously not. It wasn't chill. So it's crazy. They were just like, man, we all against these robots? Cool. And let's all put this headset on. Man, this is sick.
I would not have gone through a month of being harassed by Mr. Peanut for his rights to turn around and double down on robots.
There's
I'm sorry.
scene where Gene scalps Mr. Peanut. I'm on the side. Because he gets fucking scalped, and then the next scene, Woody Harrelson is also doing this fucking impression. He's doing like, well, I do declare that us robots must have rights, and we will be staying solely to the robot cause. It's like Kevin Spacey, but he's got like a kindness behind him, you know?
I never would have elected him as the leader of the robots. I would
Well,
have
has
just
he been
picked
elected,
the
or
biggest...
has he just got the hat? Has he just got the hat?
He's a peanut, I guess. All of the robots don't make sense. One of them's like a puppet show robot, but it's just his head that's in it.
It's crazy you're saying these because they've already lost my brain. The only one I really latched onto was Brian Cox, the baseball one.
Is that Brian Cox?
That was Brian Cox. I think because
Thank God he got a fat paycheck.
well, that's exactly. I was just like, man, that man is an angry man. I cannot think of him anything worse. He's like, so I'm going into the booth, him recording the lines. Like, what am I? He's like, you're the Met robots. Like the baseball robot. You're that. So you'd be doing sort of lines. So go, Brian. You act like that out.
Do you reckon the Russo brothers were sitting there watching the final season of Succession, maybe one of the best seasons of television ever made, written and acted, and they were like, get him for the baseball robot. We must get him now. He doesn't want to do it.
Give him, I don't know, half the budget. What's that, 40 million?
Yeah. Sitting back on Graham Norton, so they gave me $150 million to be in the electric state, and I'm like a robot, and then I just sent in my voice double anyway. Were you thrown by the concept because I was like, wow, this is going to be like when it comes up to the concept of she has to get into the electric state and like cross it or something like that. And that's what all of these robots are. And you can't trust them and everything's bad in there. And it's going to be this big adventure of crossing the electric state. I was like, oh, that'll be the money. Because at the beginning of the movie, there's so many locations. I was like, they're outside and they're going to places. I was like, that's great.
Yeah.
The moment they get inside the electric state, they go, and we'll bunker down here until the end of the movie. I was like, where is this? Where's the adventure?
It's bonkers, right? They go they kind of show that look at these scavenging robots. You wouldn't want to cross them. All right, the robot's going to jump on a bigger robot we just found, and we're just going to walk to the next place.
Yeah. He's going to pick you up and walk you there.
It's actually going to have no repercussions until we get to the robot.
You're not really in any danger. And then the one time you do get into danger is because you got out binoculars and thought you were inconspicuous in your big robot on a hill. Only to turn out you just weren't and you never were.
Do we like the robot shanty town? What is this?
I hate every robot in the film. I didn't like any of them. I hated every single one of them. I hated the brother the most. Like he was...
Which was the brother?
The brother character that was
yes.
the one that was like a...
I'm not going to have any... It's bolder than to be like, let's give that one no dialogue. I get because then the brother would be like, hey, you gotta just come and kill me.
Yeah, that's
you gotta
right.
blow my brains out. Like, I don't want to do that.
I think the thing is, it's like, one, it starts out and it's like he can't talk. And I was like, well, that's interesting to overcome. Yeah. And then she's like, no, I fixed you. I mean, he's just got the most annoying voice. And I was like, mute him.
Thank God. Now I can finally talk. You gotta put a bullet in my brain.
Oh, it was so grating. It was like, you might as well get, who's like the parrot in Aladdin? Gilbert Gottfried. You should have just gotten Gilbert Gottfried.
And she's animal muting.
Yeah, and she's like, oop, and just snaps its neck. But it's like and then he can only talk through phrases, so sort of pulls a bit of like a Bumblebee from the Transformers movies. And then like that's it. You know, that's like that's a character ticked.
Yeah. It's crazy. This robot shantytown, I think they figure, I don't know how there's a lot of times where like, again, I was just writing down the robot side with the humans. I'm like, but why are they doing that? Because I think they watch Millie Bobby Brown watch TV and they're like, damn, she's got our respect. She'll watch us, which is one of the lowest forms of just, that's pretty bad respect, you know?
Yeah.
If you're just like watching a TV show and being like, that's enough. It's do better, Mr. Peanut. Do better, Mr. Peanuts. But yeah, the robots are now like, cool, let's go invade Apple HQ. What is the business? Because Stanley Tucci's like goons come in rushing in. They're like, sir, we checked the stock. You got until Thursday.
Oh, it's crazy. The goons. He's like, wait, so I'm out of business on Saturday? And they're like, yep. And I was like, that's not how this would be handled right now. Like,
what is the driving force of him running out of business? What? It seems like he's got, I don't know, 7 billion people addicted to crack headphones. What? They're in schools. Why would he go out of business?
I gotta tell you, they've kidnapped one kid, right? And his consciousness left him. Find another kid. Can't be hard.
Yeah.
Like,
surely you can manufacture that. If you just like, I don't know, upload a bunch of stuff to a child, like that's fine. Go nuts. You've got like a bunch of them. You got the headsets. Do it.
In terms of like the weaving of this plot, one of the other things that just bored the shit out of me the entire movie is the movie does not have a single surprise. You can basically piece together the entire film very quickly, which is once you find out that the kid's mind is in this robot, you go, okay, so obviously he survived the accident, then they took him, and now he's running this thing.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that's the only mystery there is. And then they do a whole reveal on it. And it's like, but you alluded to it so heavily. How could it have been anything else?
Yeah.
It was alluding to it so much, I thought maybe it was a red herring. That's how intense they were going.
But I think that's what this film is. Like, it's really, again, like Netflix has what? a billion users. Like this sort of film that's not really a film, that's just the idea of just like, we're just going through the emotions. And it's for people that watch 3 films a year, and it's this and maybe, I don't know, Sicario. And Sicario freaked them out. But this is fine. This is chill.
I'm just saying, I couldn't tell you where the plot was going in the kissing booth. And that cost like $20 million, and that was like the most watched film.
That's a romp.
Like, okay, so I'm just saying, Netflix is capable of it.
Yeah, I think they are capable of it. I think because here's the thing, I don't think they should go for like let's try and like manufacture the most watched film. Guys, you got the money. Just squirt out like 1 billion films, see what sticks.
But it's weird that for so long Netflix was like, we're gonna grab the auteurs and make the movies that the studios aren't making, you know? And then the Russo brothers, it makes me think the Russo brothers were passionate about this one because Netflix was the only one that would make this for $320 million. But I have no idea what the driving force would be to make this.
I don't know. I don't know why you don't. I mean, because you look at the graphic novel, and it has got, like, you can definitely see how it could be a small scale. The only thing you really need is just a budget for some CGI massive still images. I think the whole point is that it's very still and eerie.
It looked a lot like Monsters. Did you ever see Monsters by Gareth Evans?
No, but I think
he did Godzilla, and he did like Rogue One, and he did The Creator and stuff. He does that. You know, The Creator is beautiful robot imagery.
Yeah.
But that feels like that would be the type of movie you would make off that graphic novel.
Yeah, totally.
Which was like a 10 million indie.
Well, I just think, and again, like, it's so egregious that I just think it's like not even, like, they're not even doing a bad adaptation. They don't care. It's fine. But it is just like the whole point of that graphic novel. It seems as though it's like, look how eerie these like icons of like the 50s are. And the film is just like, what if we make these into toys? What if we just fucking made these into toys? Because I think it wants to. It's just strange. It's definitely like going for like what a metaphor of like how technology saps you dry. And the film kind of ends with like, maybe we shouldn't use these iPhones so much, huh, kids? How about that while you're watching this on Netflix? I do think even like Ready Player One had like a better solution. They were like, no, we don't get to use it on Wednesdays and Fridays.
We close it so you have to go outside.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, nah.
I don't like this.
This is very reminiscent of Rogue One as well.
Yeah.
Oh, not Rogue One.
Ready Player One. Yeah.
But also, again, just not as good. And I don't even think Ready Player One's
Ready
that
Player,
good.
But at least you got like Steven Spielberg like, what if I blocked the scene?
Yeah, he's like, what if I just put like effort in for like a lot of it? You know?
I've got a shadow there. I could probably film them going up. Yep, that'll do. Yep. That's fine.
Because I personally like the Russo brothers.
Yeah.
Like I like them.
I think they are very. My praise to them would be that I think they're very good at collecting an overarching massive story. I think you've got like Community. I think you've got Arrested Development, which had sort of a very overarching bits and jokes, and it all worked very nice and neitly together. And I think like
they're specifically graded ensemble.
Yeah, those Marvel films, you know, you can say what you want. Like I'm not like a massive enjoyer of them, but you can appreciate that just like it's crazy for 10 years they all pretty much all work together. That's insane that actually was made. And that's how I think what they're impressive at. They're very good at organizing. They're great. I bet they love Excel. and here's the thing. When it comes to film and art, you need to be really, really good at Excel and scheduling. Sadly, though, you also need just like a bit of that that nuttiness to them. I don't think they have that at all, which is a shame.
Well, the thing that I wanted to sort of like say about them is because they've done like a lot of pretty famous pilots like in the comedy space from sitcoms, and then I would say like their Marvel movies specifically do have nice moments of humor that I do think hit.
Yeah,
where I'd be like, oh, that was a surprise little piece of humor. I'm surprised that really made me chuckle or something like that. This movie's sense of humor is so poor to me, and I did not jive with any of it.
No, it's real upsetting because you definitely see Millie Bobby Brown sort of like sneering at Chris Pratt, just like, you're not very good at this, are you? Sort of like looking at the camera like, yeah. And it's almost like like the idea of a joke, and you've seen that joke before and you've laughed before, so just do it now. Like, it just feels like, guys, you know what a film is, just do this. But ironically, the people that watch these films probably haven't seen films, so it's very, I guess it's just a new concept, but it is, your whole thing, it feels so polished, and it's weird they've just got like a medium shot of just just improvise.
Yeah. Chris Pratt talks about a fridge for so long.
What's the fridge bit?
When he's just like,
yes.
who unplugged this fridge? Who did this? Was it you? I'd unplug you. Blah, 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 blah. You took the extension cord away from the fridge. And the whole time I'm just like, why is the fridge in the middle of the room? Put it up against a wall. I think it's on him that he needed an extension cord to get to there. But it's the fact that he drones on about this fridge and they clearly were just like, keep going, Pratt.
But isn't that crazy
Like-
that you spend, like, you'd be like, we spent this much money on essentially the most well-organized shot. Like, it's not like stunning or beautiful. It's just like, you can just be like, wow, there's like, I don't know, $2 million in that shot. And they're just like, Chris Pratt, have fun with it. Just have fun with it.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
And this is him. The art department hasn't even plugged in the fridge. Use it. And action.
We will kill that production designer. That's absolutely fine. But for now, you use that.
Yeah, Joe turned to Anthony Russo and just like went with a finger across his neck and was like, get rid of that designer now.
They pretty much are at the Scandy town. This is, I will say, the most not fun 10 minutes of the film, but definitely I think really reveals like who our like protagonists are and who our villains are. Essentially go, right, us robots are gonna fucking gang up. We're gonna go to this doctor who kidnapped my brother, and we're gonna find him and we're gonna chase him. And they go to this scavenger town, and oh my god, they get fucked. I can't even. This was a bloodbath. This robot war. No wonder they didn't show the robot war, because it probably lasted 4 minutes. It was brutal. They get fucked up so aggressively, and then essentially they're like, well, at least we got the doctor. Chris Pratt punches him. Key is dead. He is dead. He's like, by the way, he's in the machine. He is slaughtered. It really is a shock.
Yeah,
that they kill him.
I love it's Stanley Tucci takes over a robot and kills Ki Hai Kwan.
Yeah.
Right? Just like cold blooded. I'm like, okay, so that's just a random departure for the Stanley Tucci character.
Yeah.
But it's like my favorite thing is if you just 4 minutes earlier is Ki Hai Kwan just going, and I've made this robot and it knows all the information I know. And I was like, right, so you'll die pretty quick.
Yeah.
Because they've still got this guy to do all of the exposition and work.
Okay, he's like, I sat down, I said 100,000 words at him. It's like, buddy, jot it down. You could just jot it down. It's so much. He's like, it's got all my memories, it's got all my personality. Dare I say it's just so I can not be on sets. Is that all it is?
That's what it was. It was one of those things that they could be like, you're going to die, but we don't lose your character because they've got important information they can't reveal just yet.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that's just bad writing, then.
No, because I guess the stake, well, not even the stakes are larger. I mean, you kind of know Stanley Tucci's going to be a villain, but at this point, it's like, man, you by yourself just capped a guy in the face. Like, it must be bad optics.
Yeah.
Like, surely not. Some people aren't plugged in. Just like, I think, like, essentially, like Steve Jobs fucking killed Bill Gates. Like, it's pretty fucked.
I love Stanley Tucci this because you can tell, like, behind the camera they were like, look, we're humanizing him. His mom hated him, and now he gets to watch her make a cannoli.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and isn't that beautiful? And then in his big monologue, Giancarlo Esposito keeps asking, like, questions that the viewer would ask, and Stanley Tucci's character just keeps on going, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care.
Isn't it? I mean, because I feel like, again, maybe, and we talked about this, I think, on another episode, but like CEOs depicted nowadays are quite skewed because they're not on the best light at the moment. So it is, I guess it is funny. It's like, buddy, your company's going to crash in 4 days. You can't go, but he's such a clever man. He's like, I don't give a shit. Fuck it. I don't know. Just, I'm going to get in the robot. I'm going to kill him. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Fuck it. I'm Steve fucking Jobs.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
It makes you worried that if they're like, yeah, Tesla's going to end on Saturday, Elon Musk is just going to wave a gun around the office. Like,
I'm going to kill him. I'm going to fucking kill him.
Get me to the electric state. What is he on about?
Do they even say the electric state?
No.
Because they keep saying the forbidden zone. I feel like they were like, should we call it the forbidden zone? They're like, oh, we called it the electric state.
ADR it, you know? Just, come on, at least
I
give
don't
it to
care.
me.
Yeah.
If you're gonna give me a bad movie, at least give me the moment of like, oh, they said it.
There we go.
You know, that
But
gives you a star in
Yeah.
my book.
it's kind of a loss for our gang really here, because I'm pretty sure like everyone gets killed, and you're kind of like, oh, I guess the only evidence we really have is your brother's still kind of alive, which we kind of knew. So you guys really, they kind of regrouped, went, well, like, Mr. Peanut scalped. This is
Yeah.
the funny thing. It's so aggressive. Because again, I think we're meant to be like, these robots are real. And then they keep doing the most fucked things to them. You're like, oh, I'm not happy for them.
Yeah, they kept on looking for an excuse to just wage war on them again. And I'm like, haven't you done enough? There's only 40 of them. There's barely any robots in this electric state. I do love, absolutely love. One of my favorite things in the movie is after they, all of the robots decide to go and storm essentially Apple headquarters, right? And Millie Bobby Brown goes into a simulation where she finally gets to talk and be with her brother again, now that it turns out he's alive. And he's like, you saw me on the way in. What a quality of life this would be. And I'm like, he's healthy but bald. And I'm like, you insecure brat.
That's it.
Like,
That's it. They shaved my head. I'd just kill myself. What am I, 10? I'll
you're
never
young,
recover.
You could grow it back. He had... And it makes it so funny that he cared so much because he had so much hair as a kid in these other scenes. So much hair.
Are we meant to assume his body's like rotted away? Because it looks so fine.
I thought it was going to be like, have you ever seen Source Code?
No, I haven't. I
Well,
haven't.
it's like, do you care if I spoil that?
I mean, maybe. Is it good?
Yeah.
Okay, fuck it.
No, but it's like it's sort of like is revealed further down the track, and I guess spoilers for Source Code. Jake Gyllenhaal's character in real life is like in a tube, and he's only a torso and half an arm, and like a head, and that is it.
Great.
And I was like, that's what he should be. You know, it should be like no, his mind's alive, but that body is dead.
Yeah.
His body looks healthy. He's just lost his hair, and they've only shaved it off to put in a plug.
Why have... What was... So we assume he sort of semi-died in the car crash? He's got like no... I don't know. Again, I'm just sort of like, why have they done this? I don't think it's a bad adaptation. I bet they went, I don't think they're going to recognize them. So I think let's just do the man. He's got balls, got wild in it. Who gives a shit? That way people will know it's him.
I think they've obviously got doctors that have to do overnight shifts there or something, and I think they just need to pass the time.
Oh, of course. The company's going down 4 weeks. They've probably got some overheads.
Absolutely. I'd be there. There's definitely one person there just being like to their friend, like, hey, Eric, what if we got high and shaved that kid's head?
No, that's like that's like the mother drive, dude. It's like, fuck it, let's
Fuck
make it
it,
bold.
I don't care.
Fucking, like, I'm gonna...
What ramification of the world could it have? And this is the kid. I used to have hair. What's the life?
I need to send out a message to Millie Bobby Brown to kill me. I'll use all my brain power, 10% of my CPU. Come kill me.
Now, look, you've got sisters.
Yes.
And American film and TV from Friends and Scrubs and everything like that. And this movie's always like, brothers and sisters, they touch a lot. Now, I don't know if maybe I'm just viewing a lot of like families that are maybe more reserved or anything like that, but I've never seen them like nuzzle in so much.
No. If my sisters were dying and all I needed to do was give them like a little pat on the knee, I would shave my head and kill myself. That's what I would do. It's just, maybe it's Americans. Maybe it's the Mormonism or like the Christian. They're just like, let's hug. I'm like, I feel like there's a repressed Britishness, and even Australians is like, whoa, man, that's... Let's just do a high five, huh? That's like a nice high five. That could be it. That's all you need.
Because they've got like the most lifetime relationship where it's just, all we ever did was laugh and enjoy our company together.
They do that. I mean, again, it's such like gross, like whatever. You're like, I think it's like a TV exec who's like seeing their kids maybe, I don't know, once every like 3 years. Just like, I'm pretty sure they argue. And Millie Bobby Brown's like, shut up, booger brain. He's still my best friend, though. It's like...
But that's the thing. It's like when you see some of these movies and they've got proper conflict that comes between like a family member and then it gets resolved and it makes the relationship tighter.
Yeah.
You then go, well, that's a real relationship.
No. What a real relationship between brother and sister is, one, the brother's going to hit the girl way too hard, and then the girl's going to get real overreactive, and then she's going to hit even harder back. And the boy's like, well, I can't hit her back, and that's fine. And then they're pretty much... The parents are going to split them up. It's going to be messy. And then they, like, I don't know, 2 hours later, just like, check out this meme I just saw. And they bond over it. And that's pretty much what I think most Netflix comedies should have for siblings. That's
way more hitting.
That's more hitting.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Netflix is like, we got a hit on our hands. And they're like, how many viewers? Nobody's watching it.
Oh, no, but we've got a hit on They've hit with their hands. They've hit with their hands. Carl, they stormed the Capitol, Apple HQ. What do you think of this battle? What do we think of this battle?
Nothing. I think it's got no spectacle. I think it's got no suspense. I think I just don't really care, and I don't think you should care either. I don't think anyone else should care.
No.
This is. It's also, you know what the other thing is about this movie, and it's just occurred to me. I think this movie's really lame. I think this is just a lame film. I think it's just kind of dull and silly and not cool, and just really lame.
Damn, that's gonna really hit hard for the Russo brothers. I've seen some critics being like, they should kill themselves with an electric wire, and then you're just like, pretty lame. Fellas.
I just think if I was like, I've made this $320 million movie, and I just heard somebody be like, you would read a critic review and they're like, well, it's not for them anyway, so who cares? But then somebody's just like, the movie's just sort of lame. You'd be like, fuck. Okay.
I think, honestly, and this is me defending the Russo brothers, more just like this is what the tactic I would have, is that you need to believe that this was just a product that is not made for anybody that likes film. And that's fine. It was just like, it's something separate. I think that's what Netflix has done, because so many people have it, and so many people just watch whatever. They're just like, we need something that just ticks off every box. We actually don't need a film. Let's see if we can do that. I think they might have achieved that.
You reckon when they acquired Emilia Perez, they panicked and made this film?
No, I think Emilia Perez, similar vibe.
Yeah, okay.
I've yet to see Emilia. Is it on Netflix? Also, just
I think it's in global Netflix.
Little tangent, like AI, Google AI, fuck that thing. It's just like, I was like, is Emilia Perez on Netflix? And like, yeah, it is. I'm like, in Australia, like, yeah, dog, go check it out. And like, it just isn't there.
Google AI is the worst because it doesn't know.
No.
And it's weird because you have to scroll into the suggested result.
Yeah.
And that's always correct.
That's always right.
So now I've got this wrong text that I have to scroll through to get to the right text. Delete the AI.
Oh, it's crazy. I don't know why you can't turn it off. There must be like one these days. Can it really be that hard? There must be like a reason. Like, does it cost money to just take the first result from WebMD? Or like just Reddit, just like, what's the vibe on this? Like, here you go. It's just strange. Anyway, I want to see it, but essentially it's this film.
Google, we're coming for you too.
Yeah.
These robots might have put a siege on Apple, but we're putting a siege on Google.
That's right. No, I do need to pay my drive fees.
Oh yeah, don't cut our drive,
please.
Please, everything's please,
please.
I beg you. I'll do anything. I'll say I like the movie. So it's decided that she has to pull the plug of her brother.
Yep.
What did you cry?
I again, it just, I don't know. I was like, and the sad moment happened. I went, no, it's not. No, because I just think she's over it. What happens? I feel like it cuts to the war being done, like at the end of Star Wars, like all the drones.
She has a horrible speech.
Oh,
her speech is horrible.
Wow,
I keep on meaning to be like, oh, there's not a bad speech, to print it out and read it on the podcast. But it was essentially her just being like, guys, step outside. It's pretty nice.
No, I thought this was bonkers, because essentially you've seen all the characters. Every character looks like they're junkies that have just a headset on for like 9 hours in it. Essentially, it's like if someone turned off the internet. Remember when that TikTok ban was coming into effect? And everyone was like, if I don't get TikTok, I will bite your like head off. Imagine if like one little girl came up on screen, was like, hey guys, that was me. And does essentially a YouTube apology for it. I think they'd get ruined. All the newscast before is just like, the world's in turmoil, everyone's getting crazy, and everyone's killing everybody. And I just can't imagine that this went over smoothly.
Yeah.
There'd be such a power vacuum. It would have been horrid.
Oh, this company would have... That's the other thing, is that we don't actually get to see the legitimacy of this company, because there would be a board. There would be all these people trying to jump on and be like, no, we can salvage the company. It'd be trying to be sold for parts.
Yes.
Like it would...
Every city has what I could only, like, essentially like a...
It's bigger than the Eiffel Tower.
Bigger than the Eiffel Tower, of just like a satellite dish, essentially, hooking up everybody.
My partner
What is
was,
this?
My
What is
partner
this?
was like, that would never happen.
Yeah.
Because they'd be like, we're building this thing, and all the houses would be like, I don't want to stare at that.
Yeah.
That's an eyesore next to this
No.
building.
Here's the thing. It'll be next to the Eiffel Tower. It'll be 50 by 50 meters, 200 meters high, and it's just this black chode.
Yeah.
It's essentially like you get a butt plug and you sort of melted it a bit. So you sort of squished it down. And that's just going to be, but don't worry, lots of wires from it.
Not
Lots
wireless.
Of wires.
It's not wireless.
Not wireless.
Lots
it is
of
the
wires.
Nice. Lots of wire. Every house that needs it, wire. So it's going to be a lot of wires. But other than that, you'll have, I guess, VR. Is it just is it like a fantasy world? Is that? It's crazy. We never see what it is.
Well, it's also like could you ever see yourself being sucked into it? Because I think if I spend too much time on my phone, I just go, oh god, I got a horrible headache,
Yeah.
and I just have to go do anything else.
You've been on VR chat because that's why I always assume that these like Ready Player Ones is where you can be just like a little avatar and you run around doing stuff, and like it's funny for like 10 minutes, and then you go, oh, man, I wouldn't mind, just watching some TV.
Yeah,
like no.
You want to come over?
Yeah.
So it's like,
you want to hang out?
Yeah.
I assumed they were like pumping them full of heroin, and I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
If I was getting like dopamine pumped into my brain and like fun stuff was flashing on screen, I'd be like, that's great.
well, I guess they're getting that because he says they're like rewriting their happiness, because
Yes.
they were saying it's like his mother was awful to him, and its version of his mother was this warming.
Yeah, no, I don't think
stuff.
I don't think they're doing like a chemical imbalance. I think
No.
they're doing. I guess they're doing just like VR, just like a better fantasy.
Yeah.
But like the second you take this off, you go, oh god, what a fucking nightmare I'm living in. I gotta do better for myself. What a sad thing. Imagine you're like, hey, what are you up to? Like, I'm spending a day and just living my dream. Oh, lame.
You gonna head out? No, I'll send my robot out. Oh, like the ones from that war a few years ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like sending a
I
gun on
bought
a.
one.
It's like a gun on a play date. It's just odd.
And then the movie ends on this great little note where it goes, hey, what if we undercut the only emotional thing we have in the movie? That's all right. That brother's alive. We'll see you next time. It's like, what? Why?
I wrote it down. Went, hey, that's. Do you want a sequel, or do you just not want to make people sad?
They don't kill off-
I did think I'm like they don't have the balls to kill off that brother,
Yeah.
and they didn't.
No, they didn't kill off anyone. The other robot, which I was like, this guy should surely die. They were like, there was a little one inside him as well. And I was like, so there was nothing was at stake
Well, do
here?
you remember like Carly Esposito was just like, I'm not gonna shoot you, Stanley Tucci, cuz, and just walks away. It's what a nothing film.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oscar, who would watch The Electric State?
Okay, I just do want to say this is not a film. And that's the highest compliment I can give it. Because if it is looked in the lens of a film, it's so derivative, it is taking from everything. It's not doing anything original. So in that regard, I just think it is a product for people to be validated in why they're playing for Netflix. It is just... I think we're just going to see a lot more of these on Netflix now. I think they're doing it Red One. They're just going to pump out one of these every 5 months. And
I
it's
mean,
not
they
for-
have been.
It's not for us.
They've been doing it
Yeah.
for a long time.
Yeah.
This movie's not new. They do
No.
this every 5 months.
I think it was just more. I think what's caught everyone's attention is that it's $320 million, and I think 2 pretty big stars.
Yeah.
These are like, and that's what it will be. And I just think it's getting more and more. Like, it is going away from just being a film. It's very strange, isn't it? That I think that's my biggest compliment to the film is that it isn't a film. And that's fine. It almost gets rid of, like, a bunch of... Because if you can, it's just dreadful. Carl, who would watch Electric State?
So who did you say would watch it then?
Oh, great cue. Ugh. I reckon an AI bot actually might watch this. We say that AI written this? I actually reckon an AI bot would actually get a lot out of this, I think if you're training an AI bot to be like, here, enjoy art, this is the first thing that might make them pop up. Carl, who would watch The Electric State?
I guess it's everyone. Because everybody will probably
but it's like
watch
it's
it or try and give it a go.
Engineered for
Yeah.
everybody.
It's just crazy to me that it's simply just like is not an adventure and it's got like no spectacle and doesn't really move correctly. It's just an odd.
It's a janky little thing, isn't
It's
it?
really janky, and I think that was the thing that just sort of really threw me because I thought I didn't really like the Grey Man, but that definitely had like lots of action and it had a beginning and a middle and an end.
I mean, I've seen like clips of that and just like read the synopsis before we jumped on because I'm a professional. It just seems like a vague spy thriller.
It is,
but like it's similar to this of like it's sci-fi action comedy. It's like 18 different things.
Yeah.
And just like grey.
They're doing like the same thing, and I'm sure Netflix is like paying them handsomely. But I think just the thing that just throws me is that I'm like, wow, it's just wild that it's so far off of just being polished. And I think when you're paying for these actors, like it's wild these actors don't request a better script or anything. Like
I think, and it really is just we need the engineered. We need a Chris Pratt because he does well. We need a Millie Bobby Brown. Like we're paying the actors to be their faces. It
Yeah.
is not an acting thing. It is, we need you for $20 million. We'll make you comfortable. We'll make you chill. It will not be a stress. You'll make more money than you've ever made in your life. We just need you. We need what you are. We don't need you to act.
Yeah.
Which is sad. But then again, it's fine.
Yeah. I think it's unpolished and that it is embarrassing that they've put this out. Like, I think it is tough to hold your head high and walk a red carpet being like, I made the Electric State.
Yeah.
And so I wonder where the Russo brothers' career would legitimately be if they weren't getting to do more Marvel. Like, do we think they would just be like
I
stuck at Netflix forever? Where Netflix is like, you'll be pumping these out once every 2 years for the rest of your career.
I don't know, because if you're looking at like why you would want them as like a studio, like, well, they made some of the biggest films of the last 10 years. And then are you happy with this result of the Electric State, Grey Man, Cherry? I don't know, was Cherry more their thing they wanted to make?
I think Cherry was like their passion project.
Gotcha. It is upsetting.
Cherry's horrible.
Yeah, I need to watch Cherry.
You don't. It's nowhere near as like fun or bad as you want.
Actually, no, sorry, I don't need to watch it. It was like 2 hours 30.
It's so long.
Yeah.
It's sort of like what if we were making a magnum opus and you're just like, you don't get to say you're trying to make a magnum opus.
You can't just make the run. We'll start with the runtime 3 hours, and then I guess it'll just come to us. We've got an hour to figure it out. You know, we'll chill.
Yeah, I just think it's, I don't know, I just think it's like a shame. And it's also like Netflix has made and still produces fine films like throughout their entire...
But I think we are viewing Netflix as like a studio, and they're not that anymore. They are essentially like, what if YouTube didn't have anybody to create anything? Netflix is like, we need to actually create everything. So they need to make essentially the Mr. Beast of films, which is like for everybody. And like, you and I can't watch it. It's saccharine. But a 5-year-old can watch this while they're playing Roblox, and that's fine.
Do you think it will ever bite them? Do you reckon they're past the point of this model biting them, or do you think it can keep going?
Oh, Netflix as a whole? I think
this... Not Netflix as a whole. Netflix's like model with this of like, let's make a exuberant
I think
priced
so.
thing.
I think so. They have looked at what they need to do. They don't have the IP to do a superhero thing or like latch onto that. So I don't even think they're trying to make IPs with this.
Yeah.
You know, I just think they're trying to make a big film. And it's not like what you do like in the 90s and the 2000s was you need spectacle and you need sort of bombasticness and you need to make it so like the Michael Bays and get everyone into the crowd. Whereas now they don't have that. They've actually got people already sitting at home going, what should I watch? And they go, here you go. It's not loud and like dumb. It's just placid and it's just nothing. And that's enough. And I think they're going to keep doing that.
The aim for this is, because I remember when they did The Grey Man, that was to have a spin-off movie, a spin-off series, and a sequel. And they still haven't done any of them. But this was to create Netflix's Star Wars.
Okay, so I take that all back. So this was definitely them. They're trying to create IP. That's just so odd.
Stated that they wanted to create new intellectual property with the Electric State, aiming to build an expansive Star Wars scale world in different genres rather than relying on existing franchises.
This is like the most expensive... I need to get my wording right. But essentially, all the other ones that are above it are spin-offs or sequels to other IPs who all started with like a relatively interesting concept and a fairly modest budget. And then has gone, wow, we've created a beautiful world and a interesting concept. Let's milk that to death, but that's fine. We started with something interesting. It's odd they've gone, let's start... Because even Iron Man, like, I know Iron Man was quite an expensive film, but, like, you know, start small and then go to that.
Yeah, that movie's tiny in comparison to what it is now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I think they were just like, what do we had a charming guy, you know? I'm sure the character was already built, but it was just like, what do we...
Well, they even said they were improvising that script, writing it every morning in a trailer. Like, it was just sort of going off of what if Tony Stark was sort of like a weird he's sort of doing like a, not as cartoonish as like a Jack Sparrow performance, but he's doing a larger than life performance. And you're like, cool, I'm going with that as a vibe.
It's just, I know they want, like, it's just like, they just on a whiteboard, like, we want Star Wars. Can we have Star Wars? We've got $300 million. Sure, we can just buy a Star Wars. So give us a Star Wars.
Yeah.
In fairness, if the Russo brothers, they were like, so you need to make just like the biggest film ever. Can you just do that?
Yeah.
fairness to them to be like, we'll take the money and run.
Well, it feels like they just keep on being like, well, they made the most successful franchise film ever. So they should just keep...
They know what they're doing.
We'll keep getting them to try and start
another one.
franchises.
Another one. It's... I would hope there's more to it than that.
Because remember they wanted Bright to be a big franchise?
Yes.
Do you remember that Will Smith
I do
one?
remember that.
Like, there was... Netflix has constantly been trying to make... It must have known
Bright
this shit...
Bright had a bit more. They were just like, we've got a screenwriter of a son who did well. And at least it's like, here's a concept, here's a bit of money. Granted, it's a lot of...
Modern day Lord of the Rings is sort of a fun concept to be like, what if there was suburban houses that had like fairy problems and things like that?
Oh no, but then they were just like, but again, it's like this film where they're just like, we're not going to do any of the world building. It's just like, imagine what you think of it now, and then we'll just do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, no guys, you need to like sit down and be like, right, the orc started in the 1800s, what would that be like? And you have to build from there, and it grows into that.
So it must be annoying for them that they're looking at like Carry On being one of their most successful films, being like, oh, for fuck's sake, like what are we meant to, how, we can't turn that into 40 different things.
They're gonna though. It's gonna be a Carry On 2 pretty soon.
Yeah, but they can't make a little action figure of Taron Egerton being like, I've got to carry on.
A little TSA agent, that'd be adorable. I'd buy 5.
I know, wouldn't it be fun if they mass produced like little earpiece walkie-talkies so you could extort other people at the airport too?
I did not realize they wanted to make this a franchise. Oh, what an upsetting thing. It's so, I think it's just so many, you're spending that much money and you're like, we need it to be a hit. And you've got like, I don't know, probably like 50 producers or something ridiculous. Just micromanaging it to be so, why would that work?
You know what the best evolution of a franchise I've seen recently is? Like for example, think about like how small Fast and Furious was before it got to the point that it is. But John Wick is a fantastic example of like a pretty small action movie graduating up in budget and spectacle and opening its world up more and more every film. Yeah. That's been a really good modern version of that.
I think they were like, right, let's just make one good film. Let's just start that, and then we'll go on to... It's why all those Justice League... I mean, they're resetting it now, but I remember they were just like, oh, fuck, Avengers start... All right, we've got them all, and it's going to be $300 million. They're fucking do it. It's like, okay, what is it, though? It's... Yeah. I feel like we're just going back. I thought we'd learn. I thought everyone had learned, guys, you gotta start small.
Yeah.
And then But I guess they are like a... How much is... Like, they're like a $500 billion company. They'd be like, we want... the biggest thing ever now.
Yeah.
It's like, ugh,
they must just be like, oh, God, you didn't like the electric state? You're not going to like the email we send you about the price increase because of how much the electric state cost. Like,
you would be just like, oh, man, that was like $1. That's probably $1 on everyone's bill.
Remember when they were like, we've started our own original content. And so it was like Orange is the New Black, House of Cards. Like they were like, we have to have hits. It has to be good. We need Emmys. We need people to be like, we must watch a Netflix show.
I do think they have surpassed that now, and they're just like, we need essentially NCIS. We need
we
need 50 million people to watch it.
Yeah, look at all those Love Is Blinds and things like that. For sure. It's crazy they saw the writing on the wall so early when they were doing so
Everyone
well.
laughed at them, and they were like, we're spending $500 million on content. Everyone, on what? A digital platform? Kill yourself.
I know. And then by the time Disney Plus was like, hey, don't you want to get Disney Plus? We have an episode of The Mandalorian coming out every other week.
Yeah.
And Netflix was like, that's crazy because today we have 4 new shows, 3 returning shows, 1 new movie, 1 new TV movie, 1 new comedy special, 1 new animated series, a bunch of stuff for kids, and we acquired something else.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, like, I just saw, because I was looking at this film, I was like this definitely like reached a demographic. There's like 300 new movies a year. Like, this is just, they're just like, we're getting this is just the generic big one.
Yeah.
And there's probably gonna be like 4, there's gonna be 5 Oscar ones for us, you know? They're just catering for everyone now.
I wonder if they flat out like have done these things where it's like, what would make you not subscribe, like unsubscribe or something? And they're like, well, I like that you guys are making big blockbusters I could watch in the cinema, but I'm just watching them at home.
Yeah.
But they never actually watch them. But they need them to be made to give the illusion that they've got the choice and the variety.
Well, they got that new Chris Pratt film.
Yeah. Well, they just had the new. Did you watch it? No, but I'll get around to it.
I'll get around.
But I love that they make them.
Yeah. And that's in the zeitgeist.
Yeah.
I'm not chatting about that.
Yeah. People love the electric state.
I don't think they even know that is the Millie Bobby Brown Bon Jovi vehicle and Chris Pratt.
Yep. What a picture.
What a picture.
What a picture. All right, long episode. Sorry we ranted at the end for a while.
But isn't good to rant.
It's
God.
great to rant.
Oh, Carl.
Let's get back to Shark Week,
Shark
baby.
Week, that's right. We're putting our fins and we're jumping in water. You know the whole thing. It's Shark Tale next week. It's Shark Tale.
It's great. It's great. It's got Will Smith from Bright.
Oh, I love Bright. Thank you for listening.